All right. I am going to give it a little bit longer to breathe, maybe one more minute. I am going to be talking about today the instant high. This should be interesting. I have no idea. I have no idea. So I'm going to give it about another minute or so and then I'll get started. I wonder if anybody's been affected by tropical storm Elsa that has turned into a hurricane. I think I heard on Alexa this morning. Here in Indianapolis, I woke up to rain, so we're getting some of the side effects of Mother Nature. Um, and clearly, I'm going to say that Mother Nature needs it the grass and the trees and the plants and everything, um, farms and whatsoever else requires rain. So it's a good thing. I'm learning to adjust my thought process with regard to certain things in life. Okay, so it is 3:01, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hello, hello, hello. This is your girl CeleXy, and this is She Shakes Fear. Today, I want to talk about an instant high. Now, before I get started, I just want to remind everybody that I am on a transformational journey, physiologically and spiritually. Excuse me. And so I am basically sharing that journey with you all. And doing so is really helping me to um, manage myself, if that is a valid statement. It's helping me to be better in control of what comes out of me and what I put into me, um, what I fortify my temple with, how I take care of myself. All of those things are coming under question right now in my life, coming under focus or coming into focus. And so for whatever reason today, a thought popped up in my mind from a past experience, and I needed to, I guess, reflect on it. And it was the very first experience in my nursing career, and I worked with a young lady who was our unit secretary. And unfortunately, she had suffered an accident and was hospitalized in critical care with a traumatic brain injury, or what we call a TBI. I had grown fond of her very quickly in my um, time there at the hospital. That was my very first nursing job, and she befriended me by sharing her locker with me until I was able to get one. And so she quickly became an ally and a friend. And so when she fell ill and literally fell ill and was in the hospital, I asked my pastor at the time to if he would come to the hospital and pray with her and her family. One of her family members had let me know that they were going to do like a prayer vigil with her at the bedside, and had invited me to be a part of that. And so I asked them if I could invite my pastor, and they gave me permission to do so. And so my pastor and I went in and we prayed. And long story short, she did transition. And later on, my pastor and I were talking about it and being very open, honest, transparent, and authentic. I shared with him that I was very doubtful that she would have recovered from her condition based on what I knew about medicine. Now I'm a brand new nurse, been in healthcare for 30 years or thereabout somewhere. I don't even keep track anymore, really. But anyway, been in healthcare for 30 years because I worked as a CNA while I was in nursing school. And so I did that until I finished nursing school, and only went to nursing school part time. So initially, and so anyway, long story short, my pastor and I were talking, and I was like, shared that thought process with him that, based on what I knew about the trajectory of someone with a traumatic brain injury, um, even if they survived, they would have so many deficits, so much dysfunction that the quality of life would be severely compromised. And then, based on what I knew about the medicines that they were using to treat her specific condition, I just wasn't very optimistic about her making a full recovery at all. And so that's what I was holding in my consciousness. That's what I was holding in my consciousness. I was holding a safe and comfortable transition for her, not a full recovery. And when I told my pastor that, you can imagine his surprise. You know, he was, you know, from originally from the Church of God in Christ and came to a Wesleyan church that was really moving into non-traditional or non-denomination. Um, but yet and still he was offended that, you know, I had that mindset going into the room with this family to pray. And so he reminded me of a passage of scripture where Jesus was going to pray for, I believe, a 12-year-old girl who had fallen ill. And he was very selective in who he allowed to go with him out of his tribe, his entourage. He picked very carefully who he allowed to go with him, and then even with the girl's family, who could even be in the space at the time that he arrived. At any rate, basically I was in opposition probably with the pastor and the family with regard to my friend's health, and that really affected me in a huge way. um, I didn't have faith in God. I didn't have faith in the individuals who were operating as the hand of God. I didn't have faith in the medications that were created by the hand of God to help her. Um, yeah, I didn't have faith. And so once that thought came back to my mind, once that memory came back up for reflection today, I was like, why is this coming up? And why is it also coming up right after I felt like I was going to do this video about the instant high? And now it's all making sense to me, because I was like, I really don't see how that situation has to do anything with what I wanted to talk about with regard to instant high, but really it does. When I went back, I wrote it down. I wrote down the situation or the scenario, and the word that stuck out with me was the medicine. And what does medicine do? I mean, medicine provides a relief from some specific disease or illness or injury or sickness. Um, but it's also a form of instant gratification. And let me just break that down. There's all kind of evidence that would indicate that if we eat healthy, the body will heal itself, regardless of the illness, the injury, or disease or sickness. And maybe it's because if we were eating healthier, if we were living healthier, the body would not require, or the body wouldn't even have us be in a state of illness, sickness, or dis-ease. Injury, possibly, but even that's questionable, because how do we really know? Because where's the research to support watching or, excuse me, gathering data on a group of people over an extended period of time who were completely practicing? Well, you know what, maybe there is some, I forgot we have the World Wide Web available. Maybe there is some data where individuals, human beings, have been monitored, and they only ate healthy, and they had, you know, a good form of exercise, and just, you know, basically a very healthy community filled with joy and bliss, and they were equipped to manage the stressors, if there were any, of life. I don't know. Maybe that community exists, and maybe that study has been done. However, I haven't been made privy to that, and so I'm gonna just go with the historical evidence of what we do have. And for the most part, we know that our ancestors, they made up their own medicines and herbs and whatever from the earth. There was no artificial anything, no synthetic anything. They made it up from the earth. And the earth is abundant and plentiful. And so where am I really going with this? It's the instant high. It's medicine. It can be mass produced synthetically, and you can sell it for a great deal of money. And it provides humans with the ability to eliminate the symptoms of the illness, disease, or injury or sickness. I don't like any of those words. Energetically, they're very low vibrating. But anyway, case in point, if you have high blood pressure, which I do, I shouldn't say I have high blood pressure. I have an issue maintaining the chemistry in my body so that my blood pressure stays within a normal range for me. Normal range for me is in the 110s over 70s. Obviously, when my body is impacted by stressors, the blood pressure is going to increase. Now, therefore, if you know what the root cause of your stressors are, what causes your blood pressure to raise, what causes those numbers to increase, then essentially, if you know what causes it, then you can just remove the cause. Well, in the society that we live in, most of us don't have the discipline to remove the cause and then allow the body to readjust so that we function normally and healthily. We don't have the time that it would take to allow the body to rest and readjust. We don't have the wherewithal. And basically, because we're so obsessed with instant gratification, we just don't have the time, or we won't make the time that's required to heal naturally, normally, and healthy. Healthy self is to heal thyself. If we don't take the time to heal thyself, then the next best thing is an instant gratification, which is to pop a pill. To pop a pill. And that's what we do because that's what comes easier. Instant gratification. Now, in order for pharmaceutical companies to sell medicine and convince consumers that they need this medicine, they must first create one of the things I love to do, solve problems. In order to provide a solution, which is medicine, you must first create the problem, which is illness, sickness, disease, or injury. Ooh, now let's just ponder that. Did you hear what I said? In order to have a solution, in order to create or explore solutions, you must first create a problem. You could also say that in order to manufacture a product, you must first identify a problem. And if no problem exists for this wonderful idea you have for a product, then you must create the problem. Do y'all follow me? Because I didn't even know I was going here. I came on here to talk about the instant high, the instant gratification, and what that does to the mind. It started way back when fast food, maybe. Fast food and processed food. We shouldn't even be calling them food. It shouldn't even be called food. It's fast, but who said it was food? It's artificial stuffs. It's genetically modified stuffs. It's not food. It's quickie shit. It's quickie stuff. And then that's fast food. And then processed food we should not be referring to that as processed food. It is not food. It's processed stuff, processed chemicals made by the hand of God. Made by the hand of God, because God operates in all of us, right? Consciously or unconsciously. the breath of life, spirit, the soul, God consciousness, Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it, it's in all of us human, consciously or unconsciously, whether we are aware of existence, whether we are aware of the existence or not. Okay? God, the hand of God is creating the medicine that basically are products that solve a problem that the hand of God created. Woo! The hand of God created the problem so that the hand of God could create a solution so that other hands of God, people of God, could consume it and pay for it, even though it's not something that they really need. So then you say, why the instant high? Why the processed food? Why the fast food? And why the medicine? Well, I already told you why the medicine. The medicine is to solve the problems that the processed food and the fast food causes the human body. It clogs up your arteries. It runs up your sugar. I mean, I could just go through the list, but that's not why I'm on here. But you get the drift. Processed stuff and fast food stuff does not agree with the body. What the body wants is what the body is. So if you're only feeding the body processed stuff or fast stuff, then that's what your body becomes. When you begin to feed the body with natural stuff, whole food, plant food, even meat, food, poultry, fish, it's food for nourishment for our body. Of course, we consume way more than we need, but that's another problem. Of course, that restaurants were also created to create a problem. You remember, you know how some of the cheaper restaurants, when you go, or the less expensive, I shouldn't say cheaper, less expensive restaurants, how much food they bring you? You ain't that even hungry. You ain't that hungry. How many times? That's why they got carry out trays. Not only do we want you to eat more than you really need while you're here, take the rest of this stuff home and eat it too. Now, don't get me wrong, because some restaurant food is fairly healthy for you, I guess. I don't, I'm speculating. I take leftovers too because I never can eat all my food. But what I'm getting at here is we have been conditioned for the instant high, for instant gratification. We've been conditioned, we've been programmed for instant gratification. I'm talking about that today because I had an epiphany today for what's going on with me. I can sit up here and talk about how I'm being triggered and how I have no point of reference for stuff, and how just I could come up with all kind of excuses for why my responses in certain situations are low vibrating, why I have a mental reaction to stuff. Now, I could sit up here and say it's because my adrenal glands are shot. It's because I have chronic fatigue syndrome. It's because I have all these labels that I've allowed the healthcare system to place upon me. And guess what? Just like I did 20 some odd years ago, 23 years ago, just like I did 23 years ago, completely sold out to the benefits of medicine and completely neglected the power of God, the hand of God, not the hand of God in the doctor or somebody else, the pharmaceutical company or not them, not their hand of God, my God. My God, the God that resides in me. We talked about this yesterday with the shadow work, right? I accepted the opinions, research, authority, power, influence of the whole entire healthcare industry. That's the hospital, the doctor, the hospital system, the pharmaceutical company, the pharmacists, the insurance companies, the medical directors. What else? The outlying clinics, your family medical home, whatever. I bought into that whole system, and it trumped everything that I learned. Trumped what I know God is capable of, the God in me. But then remember, I just only recently realized that I needed to form a relationship with the God in me. So again, this is something else that I'm learning along this journey, and everything is happening in real time, y'all. It's so fast. It's so fast. Like I'm getting lessons every day, and I'm getting my ass whooped every day. Even people in my life are playing a role in my sculpting, in my burning off these impurities, which are old habits. We used to say old habits die hard, but I'm here to tell you, from an instant gratification and an instant high perspective, stop saying that. We got to speak life into the situations that we want in our life. I no longer ascribe to the labels that have been placed upon me. Ever since this whole COVID thing came into being, God dog it, I bought into it hook, line, and sinker. Because I was under duress, I was under so much stress, and I had stretched I did it though. I stretched myself so thin because I wasn't taking care of myself. I was so busy taking care of everybody else in order to get instant gratification. This is my message today. This is what I'm sharing with you today. Because you know what? I know if I am going through something and I'm having an epiphany about something, there's at least, they always say we got at least one twin in the world, right? So at least if my one twin is watching, if my one twin is watching, girl, guy, I'm sharing this information with you because we're connected on a spiritual level, right? And so that's what I said about the wonderful thing about the World Wide Web is you can speak to people all the way in another country, in another continent, on the other side of the world, can receive and sharing this information with me. This is new information to me that wisdom is sharing with me. What I do when I create these videos, y'all, is I actually go back and listen to them, because a lot of times what I'm sharing with you, all the time, what I'm sharing with you is really for me. Initially, it's for me. And because I'm sharing it with you in real time, I recognize that other people can benefit from my wisdom, what I'm gleaning, what I'm, putting together, what I'm figuring out for myself. Part of my blueprint, you can use it too. Remember, as I was talking yesterday or the other day, we can learn from other people's experiences. Their experiences becomes a tool for us to glean from and create our own blueprint for our own lives. And so that's what brings me to where I'm at. And so I'm doing, I'm what they call it, paying it forward. And but yeah, instant gratification. We've been programmed for it, and I have bought into it hook, line, and sinker as a result of being a part of the so-called solution. And because of that habitual desire for instant gratification, I am constantly looking for ways to instantly gratify myself. This is the subconscious mind. You know how you go to the store. Me and my girlfriend was talking about this the other day. You go to the store and you're hungry because you haven't ate. And right now I don't have that much of an appetite. So whenever I go to the store, I'm usually probably a little hungry because I don't eat that much anyway. And so when I go to the store on on an empty stomach, though, I end up buying stuff that I shouldn't buy. I buy those quickie stuffs. I buy the processed stuff, and I may stop. Well, I don't usually stop for fast stuffs, but you get my point. I know for a fact that if I go to the store hungry, grocery shopping, that I am going to bring home some things that are not food. And they helped you to do that by placing the non-food items at the cash register. So while you standing there waiting in line to check out, there's all the junk stuff for you to consume, to purchase and consume because you're hungry, and then not thinking about the consequences of your actions that are going to lead to, like if you're a chip person, I enjoy the flavor and the crunch of potato chips, particularly kettle crunch potato chips. um yeah, you can't just eat one. And then I try to trick myself because it's a potato, right? With all that chemical on there. It's not real food. It's not a whole food. I would be better off getting a baked potato, getting a potato out of the cabinet and putting it in the oven, or taking the potato and boiling it and adding a few little seasonings, and it would be much healthier that way, right? But instead, the quick way to consume it is in a potato chip. So as soon as it's processed and packaged, it is no longer a vegetable. It's not food. But yet and still, we continue to consume because we like that instant gratification. We've become accustomed to instant gratification, and it is everywhere, everywhere. It's in a, and it has consumed me in such a way that almost everything I do, I'm looking for instant gratification. And guess what else contributes to instant gratification? I had this conversation with a friend of mine, a drummer friend of mine, a few summers back. We were talking about how social media programs you for instant gratification. Social media also programs us for instant gratification. That's why they advertise on it. I mean, have you noticed how much the advertising has picked up on social media? A lot, a lot. And the algorithms have increased. I just had this thought. Like, my birthday was a couple of weeks ago, and I had such an outpouring of people wishing me happy birthday that today I'm skeptical as to whether or not really all those people wish me happy birthday. Like, I know some of them really did, but how do we know for a fact that that wasn't an algorithm? Like, if I actually reached out to every single person that wished me happy birthday, I mean, I did go back and like all of it or whatever, but here's the thing. How do we know that just because people that you're friends with wished you a happy birthday, it shows up on your news feed? What if you went back and looked on their news feed? Would you be able to find where they wished you a happy birthday? Like, what if you did that and you discovered that they really didn't wish you a happy birthday? And then you go back to your page and there it is. I'm not saying I've done the research on this. All I'm saying is we really have to be careful about what we see with these natural eyes. Our eyes can be deceptive. Our mind has been programmed to see what we are seeing. I have been programmed for instant gratification, and I look for it everywhere. What I've discovered since I've had COVID, one of the things is I don't have I've in the past I've experienced not being able to focus on something for a long period of time, or like I've not been able to write. Because writing at length, like, there's plenty of books that I've started writing that I would like to finish writing, but I haven't been able to do them because guess what? Writing a book that's 20,000 words or more, that's not instant gratification. One of the reasons we're active on social media, posting pictures and different things, is because we want to engage with people, but we also want that instant gratification. We walk around holding on to our phones. If somebody likes something on your Facebook page, immediately you get to see it if you got those notifications on. I I've been done took that off my phone. I hate that, right? Because I don't need to know every time somebody likes something that I've done or posted. I don't need to know it. When the next time I'm on social media, I'll see it. So I cut those notifications off. But even though I cut the notifications off, I'm still on it long enough that when I am on it, I look at all my notifications when I'm on it. That is still a form of instant gratification, because guess what? I get all of that instant gratification on social media, but it doesn't happen when we're physically out and about in the public, right? You don't get instant, you don't always have people telling you that you look good today. And if you live alone like I do, you don't have anybody telling you that you look good ever except for me. So I'm the one in the morning when I get up, hey girl, you looking beautiful today. And I'm not focused on, because first when I first get up in the morning, it's whatever I look like when I woke up, right? So I still might have little sleep boogers in my eyes and dried up slobber on my face or whatever the case may be. But nonetheless, when I walk past the mirror or look in the mirror when I go into the restroom, hey beautiful, how you doing? I do that. Okay, so there is somebody telling me that I love me, and that's an instant gratification. But what I'm saying is we've been conditioned for that instant high, and you constantly looking for it, like chasing the monkey. It's no different. When we think of getting instantly high, I know what probably when y'all saw my thumbnail that, oh, what's she gonna be talking about, an instant high? You probably thought that I was talking about, smoking weed or drinking or whatever else you can do to get high. But there are a myriad of other things that we do to get high. I like to get on Amazon and shop. If I'm looking for instant gratification, just the mere fact that I can get on my phone, look up something that I think I need or want, and click it and get the confirmation that it's on the way to me, even though that's not like instantly, but in a way it sort of is. I used to say that it's like getting Christmas presents all. It's still a form of instant gratification. You remember back in the day when you ordered stuff, you couldn't get that stuff in a day or two. Amazon has provided another stimulus for instant gratification. And so then what does that lead to? When me and my friend were talking about it a couple of years ago, he was saying, that because of social media and we're so used to getting instant responses to anything that we do, that his girlfriend at the time, she expected an instant response to everything. If she texted him, if she sent him a text message at 1 o'clock, she had an expectation that he should respond by a certain time, an expectation that he wasn't aware of. And he was telling me how frustrating that was. You know, if you back in the day before we had cell phones and text messages, if you called somebody, you left a message on their answer machine and you just went about your business because you had no idea when they were going to get back to that phone to hear those messages and call you back. You just went about your life. You weren't waiting, sitting by the phone, walking around, holding the phone, waiting. Sometimes. So I was thinking about this the other day. I had texted somebody and I was on the phone talking with somebody else later. And as soon as the person I had text me back, of course, since I was on the phone and I had the phone on speaker, I was looking at the phone. I got that notification that I had a text message, right? The little thing popped up and instantly I was able to respond to that person's message. I'm thinking they probably think that I just sit around waiting for responses from people. But that wasn't true in that situation. But just because it wasn't true in that situation doesn't mean that it hasn't happened. You know how you text somebody and you are literally waiting for them to text you back because you need immediate gratification. You need that instant high. You need an instant response. I'm telling y'all what I know. We've been programmed subliminally. We don't even realize it. They just slid that shit right into our life experience. Fast food, instant healing from a pill, having side effects. Like right now, I had a couple of teeth pulled a couple of weeks ago, and now I got something going on the lower level. And so, the first thing I wanted to do was alleviate the discomfort that I was having. And I still have I have some leftover Tylenol and ibuprofen from when I had COVID. So it's not like I don't have some pills to pop for that, but I kind of save those for like really excruciating pain. And one of the reasons I get tattoos is to even learn how to tolerate pain. So that is not my go-to. The instant relief of the discomfort is not my go-to when it comes to physical pain, which is crazy. So then if instant relief is not my go-to for physical pain, I do have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. I am going to go and make sure that there's not something that has transpired from the other tooth that I had pulled. So I am going to take care of myself. I'm going to take care of my oral hygiene because I use this to talk to y'all. Oh, well, I'm going to take care of this. And I use this to sing and everything. Yeah. Not having this straight. Yeah. That's going to cause me some issues if I don't take care of it. Right. So I'm going to do that. However, what I'm saying is I didn't immediately go for instant relief of the discomfort that I'm having. I recognize the value of my mouth, my teeth, my ability to speak, and therefore I'm going to take care of it. But it's not something that needs to be taken care of instantly. Perhaps I need to feel some of this discomfort as a reminder to maintain good oral health. This is part of my transformational journey, right? So maybe it's just a reminder that I need to be considerate of what I put into my mouth and how often I'm taking care of cleansing my oral cavity. It's just a reminder. It's God's way, my God's way of reminding me to take care of myself. But what I did do for relief is I used my trusty little Google and looked at natural home remedies to deal with sore gums. So I gargled with some baking soda water. And then I sucked on a couple of cubes of ice, and that was enough to get me through the night until I could call the doctor today. So what I have discovered for myself and what I'm sharing with you all. You remember when we were children and we used to get in trouble and they used to put us in timeout? What I'm going to start implementing is a timeout when I want to respond to any situation. The same way I did last night when I noticed that I was having some discomfort in my jaw, in my gum. I didn't immediately react. I didn't jump up and grab a pill. I didn't even call 911. I didn't immediately call the after hours for my dentist. I didn't do any of those things. I took the time to find out what I could do, what was in my control. What did I have control over? What can my God do for me? And so I reminded myself, hey, you have some things around the house that you can do to alleviate the discomfort that you're having. I need to do that in every other area of my life. I'm about to pay somebody a whole lot of money to tell me this, but I live in the world. I'm not of the world. And so I am still bound. No, maybe not bound, but I still adhere to the social norms and mores of our society within reason. However, when it comes to taking care of this body and me personally, not just my mental health, but my spiritual health, my heart health, my lung health, my oral health, my eye health, my hearing. This body, this temple, this Vermana, this Merkaba, this vessel, this temple. When it comes to taking care of this, I will do what is in the best interest of the care of this body. I will focus more on healing thyself versus looking for something else external of me or some instant gratification. We've been programmed. We've allowed ourselves. We've contributed to it. We've been consumers of it. And for me, so I also have learned that rather than stopping doing the things that are habitual, that the things you've grown accustomed to, the things your subconscious mind has programmed in you to do, rather than just stopping that behavior, how about let's just transition it into a new behavior? So at the moment that you feel that you need to respond quickly to something, immediately, almost by impulse, an autonomic response, meaning that we have a nervous system within us called the autonomic nervous system. Your heart and your lungs and your digestive system, many of our systems within us function on an autonomic nervous system or an autonomic programming. And what that means is that you don't consciously have to do anything to make your heart beat. You don't consciously have to do anything to cause your lungs to inflate and deflate, inhale and exhale. You don't have to do anything to get your digestive system to begin that muscle propulsion to move that food through your digestive system. You don't have to do anything to promote urination, to evacuate your bladder or bowel. We don't have to consciously think of those things. They happen automatically. It's called autonomic because it's a nervous system that does it. But it happens automatically whether you think about doing it or not. Okay? When what has happened to us as a society, and me personally, because I am talking about me, is that I have allowed myself to be, I've been permeable. I've been able to be programmed to instant gratification, that instant high, that instant rush, the instant rush you get when somebody responds to your message, the instant rush you get when you ask somebody to call you and they call you right back, the instant rush you get when you're hungry and you can eat a Snicker, the instant rush you get when you fire up, the instant rush you get when you have that drink of wine, the instant rush that you get when you satisfy what you think is an immediate need, want, or desire. We've been programmed for instant gratification. And what happens with that on a mental level, especially for someone like me who has been stretched out and dealing with major life event after major life event. I was drowning in 2020 because I was having a major life event. And before I could recover from a major life event, I had another major life event. This is not my first time going through this. Remember, I told you about the beginning of this journey. So isn't it? It's like I got two bookends. I got the beginning of this journey. The end of this journey is ending the way that it started. And what I know for sure, that while I'm in this transitioning through the eve, if I don't no, while I'm transitioning through the eve of this next cycle, my responsibility to me, to my God, to my soul, to my breath, to that which gives me life, my responsibility to me is to learn from those bookend experiences, to learn from them so that I don't grow and move into this next cycle carrying that baggage with me. The need for instant gratification must stay in this cycle. I'm sorry. I got to let you go. I'm sorry. Well, really, I'm not. Instant gratification, that habit, that program, and everything that goes with it is now obsolete. It is being deleted from my hard drive. It is being burned in the fire, along with the other revelations I've had over the last several weeks. Instant gratification. Now I'm replacing that with something else. And I'm gonna come up with it, when I'm stimulated instead of triggered. When I am stimulated by a person, situation, or event. When I am stimulated by a person, situation, or event, I will take a time out. And for me, right now, 30 minutes. 30 minutes. I will take a time out when I am stimulated by a person, place, or thing. When I am stimulated by a person, place, or thing, and a response is required from me, I will take a 30-minute time out before I respond. When I'm stimulated outside of the natural flow. That's what I'm going to call that. When I'm stimulated beyond the natural flow. That means when a person, place, or thing irritates my peace, or I don't even want to give somebody else that power, but I'm just going to refrain from trying to define it too much. I'm going to keep it simple. When a person, place, or thing stimulates me and requires a response, I am going to give myself a 30-minute timeout so that it is an actual response and not a reaction to the stimuli. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you know anything about psychology, how they mess with the rats or the mice or whatever, they'll if the mouse tries to get the candy before the time frame is up, he's electrocuted. He receives some external stimuli as a punishment, so he won't do it again. I ain't trying to go through all that. I'm not trying to deal with being punished. I'm not finna punish. I talked about that yesterday. I'm not punishing myself. What I'm going to do, though, because now I recognize the root cause of what I'm dealing with. You see? I'm not going to put a Band-Aid on it. I'm not going to continue to blame other people. I'm not going to push my stuff, my mess onto somebody else, because I'm in control of me. Wisdom is in control of me. God is in control. I am in control of me. I have control of me. So what I'm going to do to overcome the impact of the programming for instant gratification that I was probably born into, sins of the mother and father, something I was born into. I'm not going to just stop cold turkey. I don't have to do that. I just need to recognize the stimuli, take a 30-minute time out, baby girl, and then respond lovingly, appropriately, and accordingly. I don't know if you can feel my my emotion through this video. This has been a really tough lesson. This has been a really tough lesson, but I'm committed because I'm worth it. I love me and I love humanity. And I want to demonstrate that in every aspect of my life. I do. Let me just change my wording. I love humanity and I love myself first. And I demonstrate that in every aspect of my life. That's my affirmation today. I love myself And because I love myself, I love humanity, which is an extension of who I am. And because I love humanity, whenever I am stimulated by a person, place, or thing, and it requires a response, I will take the time required, 30 minutes, to consider my response. And once that response has been considered, I will also write that down in my journal so that I can also keep track of what these stimuli are and how my responses have been in the past. And I'll use those for reflection down the road. But I am assigning that task to me because I always want to respond rather than to react. And as I acknowledge the removal of anything that is not for my good, I recognize that all things work for my good. So even this stuff, this experience, is for my good. It's for my good. And I'm grateful that it's happening in real time. Or, because, yeah, if I'm going to have instant gratification, this is the kind I like. This is the kind I like, to hear a word, to receive instruction, to receive the instruction, to reflect upon it, to discover the root cause, and then begin to implement the treatment plan. That's what I'm doing. I've created my own treatment plan. Look at me. Look at me. I've been set free, and all those tears are washed away. My nights turn to day, all because Christ's consciousness has set me free. So I'm excited. I'm embarking upon a new journey on how to deal with external stimuli that requires a response from me. And I have learned how to respond in a way that transmits love, peace, harmony, joy, oneness. Challenging lesson for me. Challenging, and you can probably tell just by the nature of this video. I am also grateful that I'm not crying. For me, I recognize, I'm fully aware the root cause. And this is not about blaming anybody or anything. I'm just acknowledging the programming that facilitated my behavior. And I'm acknowledging that I, as Lord God over this temple, have the power to replace that programming with programming that promotes, with a consciousness which promotes, with a mindset which promotes healing, love, joy, all those thoughts, the fruits of the Spirit. And I'm grateful for those who are pouring into me unknowingly and knowingly, consciously and unconsciously, for those who are pouring into me and those who are sharing with me along this journey. I am grateful. This this was a challenging but very necessary epiphany, revelation, life altering, transformational. And I love it. I love it. I love it. And because things happen for me this way, it helps me not to take this life too seriously. Let's not take it too seriously. We're here to have fun, fun, fun. Dun, 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 dun. Remember that sound? Fun, fun, fun. I'm gonna have to look that up. I think I need to add that to my set list. um, anyway, I hope I didn't. I, I know that I've said something to empower you, to give you something to think about, to ponder and reflect on. What are the instant gratifications in your life? What are the things that get you an instant high? Some of us is going out and shoe shopping. Some of us is just spending money. Some of it's going out to eat. Some of it's popping pills. Some of it's smoking weed. Some of it's uh, drinking. Some of it's eating too much. Whatever the case may be, identify your instant gratifiers and then replace them with higher vibrating instant gratifiers. Another thing that works well, what I probably will implement in my timeout zone, is great music. I may sing or turn on some music. I might show myself some love during that 30-minute timeout. I might read some poetry, go out and take a walk in the backyard, turn some cartwheels or something. But whatever I choose to do in that 30-minute timeout, meditate even, I know that it is the proper treatment for healing thyself. It is the proper treatment for me to heal thyself. And it is the proper treatment for you. Use that as a blueprint. Put it in your toolbox. One day, trust me, you're going to need it. We've all been subjected to instant gratification. This has been your girl, CeleXy. And as always, stay woke, stay whole, continue those great vibrations. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I want to keep it coming. I am going to keep it coming. You see, I'm thinking about my word choices, but I'm thinking about them too late. So I'm going to work on that. This is a soul-filled journey that I'm sharing with you, and I'm trusting that you will be blessed as a result of sharing with me. Look forward to seeing your comments. Again, please like, share, and subscribe, but mostly share it with somebody that you know this will benefit. If it's resonating with you, then chances are you know someone that it may resonate with them too. Again, I love you all. Go forth and be blessed.